Hello and welcome to episode 16 of Always Tell Me the Odds, a Star Wars Unlimited podcast. I am Magnus and with me is Marcus.
Hello, hello.
How are you today, Marcus?
I am doing well. It's sunshine outside, spring is coming, and I'm doing well.
Yeah, so it really does a lot for you when this we who live in the northern parts of the world. When the light comes, you can really tell by everyone gets a lot more energy.
For sure. The dark Nordics, when the light returns, we live again.
Yeah,
so it's fun. True. Yeah, so that's good. How are you doing today?
I'm good as well. Yep. It's as you said, it's the sun is shining and a nice Monday afternoon.
Yeah. Also, I had a really good weekend, and you were part of some of it. So
yeah, we had a good time on Saturday.
Yeah, Saturday.
At least.
True.
So what did we do on Saturday?
So we had this. We mentioned it the last episode. We had this post pre-release thing. So that was fun. And
we did the post-release pre-release.
Exactly, post-release pre-release thing. But it's like it was fun because it was my first pre-release in this new set, the Jump Light Speed, and it was my second one altogether because I started the game when it was a pre-release on Twilight. So that was, it was fun, and also it's such a nice arrangement when we do that in the place where we were. It's always like gathering together, play some cards, eat some pizza this time. Last time it was hamburgers, so it was nice.
Yeah,
so that's good.
Yeah, and it's a very fun set to play sealed.
It really is.
Jump to Lightspeed. So
yeah.
So what are your first impressions of this set as a sealed format?
Yeah, so I have played a little bit before in our local group and so, but this time I really got to know how it was to play seal, and I really like it. It was a lot of fun. And also now we are preparing and trying to find a deck for Saturday, the two Malmö Open qualifiers. So it was nice to get to see more cards. And we were 18 players, I think. So it was nice because we were 18 or?
We were an odd number. Maybe we were like 17 then.
17
because we had a buy
we had a buy-in. Yeah, that's true.
We were 17.
But there was a lot of different leaders, and the decks were very different, I think, or at least the one I played against. So it was a lot of fun because you could really starting to get to know the cards a little bit better and so on. So that was fun.
That was really nice.
Yeah. So what did you play there? What did you end up?
So I ended up playing Poe leader with a green base.
Mm-hmm.
So it's quite fun because I only collect the villainy side of this game. So the only time I play hero is when I either draft or seal. So the limited.
Yeah.
So sometimes I of course play villainy then as well, but. I usually try to make the best deck, and I think I had a lot of good cards for Poe. A lot of good pilots, and I had one Luke pilot. I think that's an insane card because first you play him as a pilot on a ship, and then when the ship dies, he goes to ground.
Yeah.
So you get double up.
It's like a second life.
In sealed, that feels really good.
Yeah, it really does. Oh, that's nice. Welcome to the light side, to the good side.
and you did the opposite.
I did the opposite because I never play villainy. I always play heroism. But this time I ended up with a villainy hero leader. So I got a Piet. And first I was like, I can't play that because that's horrible to play in sealed. But I also got, I think it was 7 or 8 capital ships in my boosters. So I was like, well, if I ever going to play Piet, why not do it now? So I did Piet with Colossus, this blue rare base that has 35 HP. Yeah, so that was good, and it was a lot of fun. It worked fairly well. I didn't win. I won one match out of 4 or 5, but I had
5 games. Yeah,
5 games. But one of them I was just crushed, but the other games were very, very, very close. So it was a good fun to play. It's fun to play with big ships because we don't have them as heroes. So
yeah. And it could be good to point out we played best of one in this tournament because we wanted to play more games instead of meet more people.
True.
So that's why we actually played 5 games of best of one. I mean, if we just follow the normal tournaments, like the Swiss, we only had to play 4 rounds to get a winner, but we wanted to play 5 rounds.
More playing, more opponents. That's fun.
That was actually good for me in the end because I ended up winning the tournament.
You did.
On 4, we were 3 people on 4-1.
Yeah.
So
it was nice.
I snagged the win from Johan, who was 4-0 in before the last round.
You should play heroes.
Won against him. Yeah, yeah, maybe. I mean, I've had actually a crazy good pre-release stats this turnaround.
Yeah,
I've played 16 games in all of my 4 pre-releases, and I went 13-3.
Oh wow, so, that's really
kind of good. Yeah, I won 2, got a 2nd place, and I think like 5th or 6th place in the 4th.
Oh yeah. That's really good. So now you as a listener, now you understand that Magnus is the more experienced one here. I am more the beginner. You can really tell when it comes to things like these, actually. So that's cool. Well, that's good. But also we had our kids with us because there were some of us that usually plays that had our kids or youths with us. And there were 5 of them, I think. And they were from 12 to 17 years old. And I have to say,
actually from 10. My son is.
He's only 10. That's true. 10 to 17, and I was deeply impressed with them. And your son and my daughter did amazingly good. So
actually,
so you're
very proud.
Yeah. So your son ended up at 4th place, right? In total,
he did.
Yeah. And my daughter ended up in 5th place. So that's not good because I ended up 14th place. So, but it was a lot of fun, and she only
it's really fun.
I mean, she had played like 3 games with me before, but when she came home, I was like, Dad, I need to build a Luke deck because it was so much fun. It's like, okay,
that's great.
Yeah, that's good. But she's a Pokemon player.
She usually plays Pokemon, right? Yeah. So maybe you need to bring her over to the dark side. We have cookies.
I mean, it's not impossible because if she really enjoys it, and I do play Pokemon with her a little bit, and I just got my first deck there, so maybe she gets herself a Luke deck and join it. Who knows?
Yeah, why not?
See. Yeah. But what are we talking about today then?
Yeah, so we're gonna take a listener question that we got. Do you want to read it for us?
I can read it. So the listener's question, this time it's from a listener that called themselves Nostromo. And they wrote, what are your best ideas for getting the community going and growing? Which is a really good question.
Good question. Very hard question, I think. But,
it's a very philosophical question, I think.
Yeah. So first of all, it was super fun to have all these kids playing with us.
For sure.
On Saturday.
Yeah.
And they were, as you said, I'm really impressed of all of them because some of them hadn't played a lot at all.
True.
But they did really good. And it's quite an easy game to learn.
It is.
But of course it's very hard to master, to be super good at it. But
easy to learn, but hard to master.
You don't always have to be super good in a sealed setting, because if you have a little bit of luck and you get really good cards that matches a leader very well, then you can do quite well even if you're not the best player. So I think sealed is a very good format to play with newer players.
Mm-hmm. I think so
not only kids, and any new players. It's a good format.
Yeah. Either that,
I guess you just need to help them make the deck.
Yeah, exactly. Either that, or you play the start decks, like in the first in the Sparkle Rebellion, where Luke Skywalker against Darth Vader, because you know those decks are kind of the same level. But it's a little bit hard, at least for me, to see how I can build decks that are even. So
yeah, that's hard.
But this like sealed format like kind of evens things out, because you don't know what you get, and you don't get the perfect cards and so on. So it was actually one of the daughters of one of the other players who absolutely crushed me in one game. It was like I had no chance. I think I made 2 damage on her base when she made my 35. It was crazy. And she was not, nice. She only played a couple of times, but I also saw that she got a little bit hooked because her dad put up in Discord that she was playing on her iPad the day after. I was like sitting there playing. So it was fun.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah. Great.
So, but what are your thoughts about building a community, and especially in a new game like this, because it is still very new?
It is. It's just 1 year now.
Yeah.
So, I mean, this is a very hard question.
Of course.
You and me talked a bit about this over the last couple of weeks to try to help our local community. What could we do? And I think we've arrived at like the most important thing probably is to show up.
Yeah.
To show up.
Yeah, I would
like
say
to
so.
always to. Yeah, so there should always be someone at the local game store at the day and time where you're supposed to play Star Wars Unlimited.
Yeah.
Because if there's no one there, newer players you might lose a new player that's walks in and are interested in the game. So I think that's probably the most important thing, to always show up.
Yeah, I think that's and also we got a very good like sign of that, or it showed very well when you and me, we were at our like one of our locals and playing, and we were a little bit hesitant to go because it was only you and me, and you were not supposed to come, but I said that I will go anyway because my daughter is playing Pokemon, so I will go there and hang out. And then you decided to come, and then a third person came who just wanted to start playing Star Wars and just came to check if there was someone playing, and they ended up playing with us and then became a part of the community. And they also said that if we would not have been there, he would never got into the game. So it's a very good sign of like how important that is, because
that really showed us
like for sure
a really good example of how you can lose a player. Because if I decided to stay home, maybe you would have be sitting with the Pokemon players, and he might not have like come up to you guys and asked if someone was playing. But now when you and me were sitting and playing Star Wars, he saw that and he came up, and then and now he's part of the community. So
showing up is number one, I would say, for sure.
Yeah, that's number one.
Yeah. Then another thing that I have been thinking about, because we have some new players coming in now with a new set, and I know that some of them are like they were like, oh, I always ask questions, and I was like, yes, that is a good thing. You should always ask questions. And I think as an already existing community, you should be very you should be really aware of that. The new players, they are a little bit hesitant to ask questions, but you should be very inviting to that, very, very open to that. And you can't tell them enough times to that it's okay to ask questions. If you have any questions, let me know. Just tell me if there's anything. Do you need anything, or do you don't understand anything, something, or so just ask me. You can ask me whenever. And I think that is very important to be open and to really over and over tell them that it is okay to ask questions, because it is hard when you come in new to a community. It is, people know each other, and sometimes they have internal jokes, and sometimes it's very hard to get into an already existing community. So I think you should be very aware of that new people coming in, you should really take them in and talk to them. And
to be very open, because as you say, it can be very intimidating to walk up to a group of people who seem to know each other and have the same interests. Even if you as well have that same interest, it can be very hard. So I mean, that's another thing. Be open, don't be pushy, but be very open and welcoming to anyone who wants to try out. And I think another thing there is, of course, we have one of the local guys, Emil. He's put together a lot of decks. Usually have with him like 5 to 10 extra decks in his bag, and that's very good if you want to get new people into the game. Because they can try out different kind of decks and see what they like, and that's so. I usually try that as well, to have at least one extra deck with me.
Same.
So I have one deck to lend out if someone wants to try. But if you can, why not have like a lot of decks? It's
for sure.
The more the merrier. It doesn't matter.
For sure.
I mean, even for us, like that are very into the game already and played a long time, I sometimes borrow a deck from Emil as well, because I want to try another kind of deck that I haven't played and haven't put together, and he's got it put together, so why not try it? So I think that's, for the whole community, it's really good if you can have a few decks with you.
Actually, and also you get the chance to meet other like more different decks, so you know how your deck do against them, and also, as we said it last time, how to become a better beginner. Like if you're new into the game, how to become better, to try out different decks, and especially the decks that maybe play against your own deck and so on. So it's very good to have that. But I also, if I mean, some of the new players coming in now, they have one deck and we play against each other for a couple of games, and then you're like, do you want to try another deck? Because I also have like 2 or 3 decks with me, and they're like, well, I only have this one, but you can borrow. We have a bunch of different decks here, so you can just try them out. Because when you start a game, you don't have too many cards and you can't put too many decks together and so on. So I think that's a good thing for sure. I
think that helps building the community. So
for sure.
And I mean,
and also another thing that I've been thinking about that have helped me to come into the group, because a lot of you people already know each other from other TCGs you have played, like what is it called, Flesh and Blood and Magic and stuff like that. So one thing that I've been thinking about is like, you are always open to me. Like for instance, now we're going to this tournament on Saturday. I don't have our cards, and people are like, but well, you can borrow this from me because I have 2 of these, and I don't use this one, so you can borrow that from me. And I know that some of the new people, they were like, I was thinking of playing this deck, but I don't have these 2 cards, and I had them, so I was like, well, you can get them because I won't use them, so you can get those cards. It doesn't matter. And I also think that's like sharing with each other and talking to each other about stuff like this and be open about that. I think that is also something that really build and strengthens the community a lot.
Helps out to make like the people that could be interested in competing and going to tournaments, because it can be quite an expensive hobby if especially if you're like a student or maybe you just don't have the cash for like to buy everything, and you really don't have to buy everything. You can we always say that, like, start with one deck and we can help you out, try to make that deck better. And I mean, it's okay to borrow cards. I think that's very good. Our group is very open to that. If like for instance, as you said, the tournament coming up on Saturday, a lot of people's gonna borrow deck like cards from each other to make their decks. So I think that helps out, and it's a good way, instead of like making everyone buy every card. That's not a way to build.
No, it's not. It's like I knew it was an expensive hobby, but I did not expect how expensive it was, because Jesus, I have used a lot of money. But I also, it's like I I very much appreciate this boring thing. I think that strengthens the community a lot. Very much so.
Yeah, it's a good way of helping out and
for sure.
And feel I mean, you feel included as well if someone says like, oh, you just talk. I would like to play this deck. I don't have the cards, and someone says, oh, you can borrow those from me.
Yeah,
it helps you to get into the group as well.
Yeah, exactly.
And so I think that's a good way to be open and helpful to each other.
Yeah,
and also the thing you talked about, usually, as it has been for us at least, the new players that come into the group only have like one deck in the beginning, and maybe don't have all the best cards in the deck.
Yeah,
I mean, both because they might not have them yet, or they haven't looked at decks online and don't just build a deck for themselves. Maybe they played other. So that's another thing. Just be very helpful when you're playing at your locals, to give some advice and like help out with the deck. And I usually also try to help out if there is something I think my opponent could have done instead that might have won them the game, or
game wise.
Game wise. I usually also try to ask after a game, especially if I lose the game, if there is something they think I could have done differently to maybe disrupt their plan. Because most of us are there to learn and become. I mean, not everyone's like wants to be the best player, but most of us wants to at least evolve and become better players than we are right now.
Yeah, at least win a game now and then.
I
was so discouraged after last week because I played maybe, I don't know, 30 games and I didn't won anyone. I was like, I shouldn't be playing this game. I suck. But then now it feels a little bit better after the pre-release and stuff again.
And I mean, often it comes down to having the right decks and such as well. So,
but it also is like you have said to me a number of times, I need to remember that I'm still very new to all this TCG stuff, and also the people that I'm playing against in our community, they are insanely good card players. So I need to remember that. And I also think that's like if you're building a community, I also think that it's very important to like remind each other about that some players are really, really good and they want to compete. Then there are some players that are not as good and they don't want to compete. They're just doing it for fun and they're just there to enjoy the game. And I think you should try to create a space for the community where everyone feels welcome, no matter if you want to like go hardcore competing in it, or you just want to do it as a casual fun thing. And I think we have at least a good balance on that. Like the people who are not like competing, they are still showing up and having a good time, and we try to involve everyone somehow.
And it's very good to be open about what you want as a player. If you're not at all interested in tournaments, so you just want to play for fun, then just tell that to your opponents. Like, I have built this deck. It's only a fun deck. It's probably gonna die against like the big meta decks. Or do you have maybe another deck you want to play for a fun deck and such? That's also a good thing to actually have in your bag with you if you want to be open to new players. It might not be the best thing to like take your Django Tarkentown deck and beat the crap out of the new player because he's playing I don't know, Finn or something, and
his favorite leader with not as good deck.
So that's always a good thing to have as well, if you can, and if you enjoy to have like a fun deck in your backpack as well to bring out if there is a very new or a very casual player that wants to play with you. But it's also fine if you really want to play your competitive deck, and maybe you like for instance, tomorrow we're going to our locals, and we have a tournament on Saturday. So a lot of us do want to try out our decks and really try to make the decks better, or like decide if we want to bring those decks to the tournament.
Exactly.
So there probably won't be that much casual play among us, at least. But I still know that there will be a few guys who just want to play a draft and have some fun with the draft. Just
for sure.
Yeah, and that's fine. It's just
there's
be
room
open
for that
with
too.
What you that's room for everyone.
Yeah, for sure. I will bring my meme decks or my bad decks.
Yeah, that's good.
I actually, it's like I built some decks on my own and they are absolute crap because I don't win a shit with them, but that's fine. But they're so much fun to play, and it's always fun to do it because I know that I have created them. But if I go against like Django Torkington now, I'm glad if I come to 5 resources, but it's still fun to play them, and it's like I enjoy that space also, but I also do enjoy more than I anticipated the competitive part of it. But if it's, I always was. Do you have any ideas or thoughts about what would you like to do like further on? Because we have a pretty good community around us locally, where everybody's welcome, and I've heard a lot of people that say that it's a very welcoming community, and we are good at including and like all parts of the community. But what would you say? What are your thoughts about like developing a community that is already like starting up like ours? Like all communities around Star Wars is starting up still.
Yeah, I mean, that's a hard question. I guess it depends very much on the players and the people. And I think, as we said before, again, like just show up and play games and be open to maybe every time you go to the game store, it's maybe not playing what you expected or always what you wanted to play the most. So, like sometimes I really want to play Premiere, and I come down to the game store, and almost everyone else wants to play a draft.
Yeah.
Then I can either join, play a draft, have fun, and then maybe play some Premiere after, or I can just sit and wait. So I usually of course join and play the draft, and maybe play a few games of draft, and then someone might want to play Premiere instead. So I think it's a lot about being open and not very like strictly I'm only doing this, and if this is not what's happening and we're playing today, I'm going to go home and
so open and flexible.
Open and flexible, probably a good thing if you want to keep on getting people in.
Yeah. Something I've been thinking about that I would like to do further on. There are 2 different things. One is that we invite, like all of us that are playing, inviting a friend or a partner or a child or whatever for a tournament where we put together like fun decks that doesn't have any legendaries in them or something like that. There are fun decks to play, and then just to get together, teach people how to play, and then have a lot of fun with it, and maybe get some fun prizes or something. That is one thing that I would like to do, to get more people into the game, and also like not necessarily that they need to start to play it, but that they know about the game and that they know about the community and have a good time together, to show that the community we have is very warm and welcoming, and we like to have a good time. That is one thing that I would like to do. And another thing is to put out in the local community that's like, okay, we're going to meet up at this place, and we will play some fun games. We don't bring our metas, but we bring fun decks that we think is fun or for some reason, and have a beer and then just have a good time with that.
And I mean, both you and me played quite a lot of Twin Suns, and I think that's a really good format to maybe introduce players that are not as competitive, because that's a very casual format, and you're like 4 players playing at once, and it's not more like one versus one. It's if you make a small mistake, it doesn't matter that much, because you have 3 more players around you that's gonna help out in the game. So
that could be a really good format, actually.
Yeah, it's a good thing to like maybe get some people to try out the game, and if they think Twin Suns is fun, then why not try to play 1 versus 1 as well?
Yeah, for sure.
I think
that's a good idea, actually.
Yeah,
I was. So do you remember I showed you? I was just remembering. I showed you one time that they had like, in quotation mark, invented a new game mode where they call it something called Jar Jar Binks play or something. Like they put a deck in the middle of 2 players, and there were like 80 cards in it, and 10 of those or 20 of those were Jar Jar Binks, and then you drew 6 cards and you played as you normally do, but you only had 1 deck in the middle of you, so you always draw cards from there. And if you get a Jar Jar Binks, you need to play the Jar Jar Binks or something like that. I don't remember the rules. But I think there's stuff like that could be a lot of fun to have, like get together and just like have a good time with stuff. And I think those things always also build a community well.
I
think there's more.
Probably.
Yeah. And younger people, what do you think about that?
Yeah, that's always. I mean, that's probably the best thing, if you can get some younger people involved and interested in the game. That's amazing, because they can bring their friends and could get really big. How to do that? I have no idea.
It's so hard.
I mean, I play with my sons, and that's fun. They're maybe my sons are 8 and 10, and I mean they're good at the game. That's not the problem right now. The problem is, it's like when we go to the game nights, it's later at night, and they have school in the morning, so can't really bring them to our locals every Tuesday. Like when we play, we can play maybe sometimes when there is something happening on the weekends, but I guess when they get a bit older, I probably will try to bring them even to our locals. So I guess that depends on how old the kids are. But,
but
and maybe we can. Yeah. What were you saying?
Well, I've been thinking about, because on Sundays we meet up in the local game store and play, because my daughter then play Pokemon, and there's a lot of kids there. But I also think that's it's because Pokemon, because there's a competition between those games, where Pokemon is more like there's more kids going into that because it's more their thing, and Star Wars is more maybe middle-aged men that like draw to that.
Yeah, I mean, we did grow up with Star Wars
exactly
in a completely different way than today's kids, of course. So.
And they grew up with Pokemon.
So. Yeah.
But, I mean, but I also heard that Lorcana, that's moms, because they like the Disney princesses and so on. So I heard someone say that some of the that are involved in a lot of card games around here. They said that Star Wars is a lot of middle-aged men that grew up with Star Wars, and then Pokemon is a lot of kids playing because they like Pokemon, and it's like a lot of colors and they grew up with that. And then Lorcana, there's a lot of moms doing that because they like Disney princesses and they grew up with that. And it's like the kid starts, but then the mom is like continuing. Because I've seen that in their like membership sheets and so on, that's how it works. And I think that's insanely interesting from a group psychology perspective.
I guess
so. But also sometimes I've thought about that to like merge those, like not merge, but let those community meet. So sometimes we like meet up and all of us play Pokemon, and then all of us play Lorcana, and then all of us play Star Wars Unlimited. It would be interesting to see how that would work. Because
I mean, that could be fun to try out different games and help out. That could bring some new people into the game as well. Get people trying out.
Because I think it would be good for our community, like our Star Wars Unlimited community, also to just not focus on the Luke Skywalker card that costs 7, and there is like raise up a little bit, like raise your eyes a little bit sometimes and see what's around to grow the community.
Yeah, sure.
But I mean, I'm also into the cards, and was like, I can go all nuts and just like sit for an hour talk about the card. It's like, what is happening? It's like, it's very easy to get into that. So I totally understand that. Yeah. So we have had like two staple things here. One is like show up. If you have like, we have 2 days a week where we have a time and place where there's Star Wars Unlimited getting played, then show up there, even if there's not a lot of people. Just being there could get more people in. And then when you have a community, be open and flexible, listen to the new players, what they need, invite them to ask questions and so on. And the third thing I think we said was to be open about borrowing cards is okay. Maybe if you are able to build more than one deck so people can switch and borrow from each other and try new stuff out and so on, that also helps to like get the community together and to invite new people into that. Like to sum it up a little bit. Did I miss something?
I think that's about it.
Yeah. So
I guess we'll wrap this up.
I think so too. It's a hard question. It's a lot of like, you can have thoughts about it, and it's a very philosophical question, but it's super important to get a good community around it. I think. And I also think it's important to talk about it. I have done a lot of like gaming. I did a lot of esports when I was younger, and a lot of those communities are incredibly toxic. And I was very relieved and happy to get into this community, the Star Wars Unlimited community here, because it's an amazing, warm and welcoming community. So that's good. But it's important to talk about it and to be aware of it for sure. So we thank Nostromo for that question. That was a good question and an important question for sure. Yep. So to wrap it up, should we do what we always do? We always tell me the odds here. So I have a question for you today about some odds that you need to guess.
Okay.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
So imagine that we are in the cantina having a drink and playing some cards. And there's a vending machine there. So what are your odds of dying from that vending machine?
Dying from a vending machine?
Yeah, exactly.
Can't be very high. I mean, maybe 1 in 10,000?
1 in 10,000?
That's too often.
Maybe in the Star Wars universe where they are living.
I mean, I think
it's a little bit higher.
I'm thinking, I'm approaching it from like, if you die, what are the odds that you died because of a vending machine? Not not like you see a vending machine. What are your odds of surviving? Because that's a lot higher. I don't think you can make those odds. But okay, it's 1 in 100 or 1 million.
No,
maybe?
It's lower than 1 in 10,000. It's lower.
Okay, it's lower. Yeah, so it's based on if you die, what are the odds that you died because of a vending machine?
Exactly.
So maybe 1 in 5,000 then?
No, way less. So so the odds is 1 in 112 million.
Okay.
So it's very low odds to dying from a vending
super
machine.
low odds. Yeah, but it should be as well.
Yeah,
of course.
But the thing is, you have more chance dying of a vending machine than winning in a lottery.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
That is crazy, to be honest. So the odds in winning in lottery is very low. Yeah.
That's a lot of things
that.
we're afraid of. That's very like extremely rare to die of.
Yeah,
probably
sure.
more people die from these vending machine deaths
probably
than like almost shark attacks and such that
it's
people
like
are
said,
very afraid of.
Like you had the shark attacks last time. It was also very low risk of dying from a shark. So
extremely low. I don't remember.
So now we know the odds of that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good to know. Good to know.
Yeah.
Okay, so we want to remind you all, if you haven't, do sign up for the SWU Malmö Open Qualifiers this Saturday, 29th of March in Malmö. An amazing time. We'll have an amazing time, and you'll get to meet both of us if you come. So go and sign up for that. We have a Discord you can join. There's a link in the description. We also have the episodes on YouTube. There is a link to that as well. You can find both me and Marcus in the Swedish and international Discord. Me as Dragonfly and Marcus as Following. So thank you all for listening, and we'll talk to you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.